t-shirts.
Cool. Excuse me, Jerry.
Oh, nice. This should be a little sweeter. I'm so glad I look so much better than I did last night.
Wow.
And I look sophisticated.
Well, just emphasizing you guys. You can zoom in on them.
Actually, he does have it focused, like, right at Patrick.
Sydney.
You guys, this is like not perfect.
We have lots of stuff to talk about. Why are you getting crazy?
Hey. Roll.
Everyone. Welcome to Grand Mesa Speaks. My name is John.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Sarah.
And Sydney.
Oh, cut. Alright. Let's do that again. Did I look at
You were
I
late.
did.
No, you're late.
Alright. Hi, welcome to Grand Mesa Speaks. My name is John.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Sarah.
And Sydney.
Alright, well, we're Mesa's first ever web show. We're called Grand Mesa Speaks. We're going to talk about issues on Mesa State College campus and just basically like issues in general. And we're probably going to do this probably every Sunday and try to have it up by every Monday. So first off, I want to introduce myself, and we're going to introduce ourselves one by one. So as I said before, I'm John. I'm a computer information systems major. It's actually a pretty interesting major, really complicated, challenging, and hard. Just want to throw that out there.
My name's Patrick, again. I'm an acting directing major. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. You get to basically do everything.
I'm Sarah. I'm a secondary Spanish education and Spanish language and literature major. I love it. I think Spanish is one of the most beautiful languages in the world, and it's really interesting.
Alright, and I'm Sydney, and I'm a political science major.
Sydney likes herself. So we watched Tough Love today. And actually, this is the first time I've ever watched the show, but I must say, it's just a show where like 10 really old women who are kind of attractive try to get dates, and they're on TV making a fool of themselves because they should be able to get dates by themselves, but they're on the show where this man who I think is single is screaming at them about trying not to be single. It's a great show. It's on VH1.
It's quite an interesting show. I really think you came in a really bad episode, really, because like the first episode, he had a lot of really good points and advice for, you know, people that I think are really common mistakes, you know, on first dates, you know, like talking about past relationships, which nobody ever wants to hear about.
This man is annoying, okay? He just sits up there. He makes people feel bad about being single. It's like it's a terrible show. It's a good show, but it's terrible in that sense. I probably should watch the first episode. What do you think, Sarah?
I think it is an amazing show. Just because I remember last episode that I watched, he had some very valid points, and I remember me and Sydney were like, "Oh my God, this is changing my life." Because, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
What do you think, Sydney?
I agree with Sarah. I don't.
You know, actually, you know, the funny thing about the show was, like, because today's episode was they were, like, doing a lingerie party, and then, so they were meeting with these guys, and the guys were in their underwear, too, and some of them were really conservative, some were, like, really over the top, like, it was kind of interesting, but it's just so much. Like, if I was honestly going to meet somebody for the first time, I would not honestly want to meet them in, like, my underwear, and be like, oh my God, you're, like, meet your women, like,
It is a little personal. But some of those girls, that was their second and or third dates. So, I guess, it's still really personal for like a third date, but I guess for some of those girls where it's like the first time they've ever met this guy and they're like in their underwear, it's like, okay.
You know, it's funny. Like, he says in the show, he's like, see if any of these guys have a spark or whatever I said. And then I told Sydney, I was like, yeah, the spark's like whore because all of her dressed so skanky. But, you know, it's all good. You know, love is there. Actually, I want to bring up a topic. Me and Sydney and Patrick, we were eating in the dining hall around 7 p.m. today, and we were talking about, what were we talking about? We were talking about how we're talking about people's perception. We're a big group that always talks about perception. I always ask people lots of questions, and then we always give people input about what, like, certain things are. It actually started a couple of days ago with my question. What would you prefer to have? Would you prefer to have cancer, or would you prefer to be single forever?
Which I actually made that question up.
Apparently Sarah made the question up, but I put the stipulations on that question. And actually, I chose single.
I chose cancer.
I chose cancer.
And we all had our different reasons for choosing it, but like today's conversation was actually interesting. We were talking about like homophobia on a different scale, because a lot of our friends are actually homophobes this year, but we were trying to figure out if it was homophobia because it was toleration or was it acceptance. Like, because yeah, we're friends with these people, but then you figure out that they're homophobes, and we don't really like, we're not really homophobes ourselves. We're kind of like pro-homosexual, I guess. And so we're trying to figure out how we can like, I don't know, socialize with these people, live in the same realm as these people, and just get on a basic level of understanding. And so we were talking about toleration and acceptance. And me and Patrick actually got into a debate about what's the difference between toleration and acceptance. And it basically, my view on toleration and acceptance was, acceptance implies that you understand it and maybe choose not to approve of it. And then toleration is basically you just don't approve of it and you only put up with it because it's in your everyday life.
I mean, I've never been a fan of the word tolerance in the first place because, you know, it stems from the word tolerate. And I just think the word tolerate has a lot of really negative connotations, like I'm going to tolerate the sun being up today, or I'm going to tolerate the heat. You don't really want it, you don't really like it, whatever, but you choose to do it because you have no other choice. And acceptance, I think, is the more positive goal of anything. I mean, whether it be homophobia, whatever, you know. Acceptance is the ultimate goal you want people to reach, but tolerance is just, it's that weird in-between level of people hating and accepting, so.
What are your views, Sarah, since you weren't there at dinner? She had a study group, just want to put that out there. Study group, we're in college. There's no such thing as a study group.
Uh-huh. I really did have a study group for Spanish 312. It's a very difficult class to pass without a study group. Just saying.
So what's your view and opinion on toleration or acceptance?
I believe that there's a place for each of them. If you could never truly accept something, you should at least tolerate it. Because if you can tolerate something...
Sydney, did you say it? She's like, yeah.
So yeah, if you can never really accept something, then I think you should at least tolerate it, because it's not your place to judge on other people's lives and other people's business. So, but I agree with Patrick in that acceptance is the ultimate, like, positive goal.
I don't know, like, I feel like I can deal with, like, I feel like it's when somebody tolerates something, it doesn't feel like you can really reach a good friendship. If they're just tolerating your existence because they're, like, in that environment.
Which is why I think acceptance is the ultimate goal. Because, you know, it's a lot easier to be friends with a person if they accept rather than tolerate you.
What are you trying to say, Sydney?
Yeah, but not everybody is just there, you know? There's like this bridge that you need to go through. You can't just be perfect. I don't know. It's progress. That's why I don't think you should not agree with that step.
I guess for me, it feels like honestly, if someone's like tolerating, like they might get to the scale of acceptance. But I just think it should start off with like you're being open-minded enough to just like feel something out. Like, I guess, like I know why people tolerate something is because they have to deal with it. Like, toleration really feels like they have to deal with it. Acceptance implies that they don't really have to, but they just kind of like, they're open-minded to that. They choose to accept it, like they're open to it. But
Tolerance it's forced on you, and acceptance is making the choice. I think that's really the thing, because I think you could be tolerant, but accepting. Like, you don't agree with it, but it's like a level between tolerance and acceptance. You know, because acceptance is, you know, the ultimate, I accept it, I don't have a problem with it. And tolerance is the, well, I have to live with it. And that kind of not just living with it, choosing to be with somebody or around people who you may not necessarily agree with, but you're around them because they're good people or you like them or whatever. So I think that's a good place to be. Tolerance, I think, is just that pathway.
We've met a lot of people this semester, is why this subject came up in the first place. Like, even though you can be friends with somebody, like, to actually reach a deeper level of friendship, you're going to have to realize that some people have flaws, some people don't, and then you have to, like, just get to a basic agreement about what you actually are with this person. And yeah, friendship does happen naturally, but if you really want it to mean something, like be friends like 30 years from now, like, you're going to have to learn more about a person, and when it turns out that this person may not accept a lifestyle that you may not deem as that bad, it's like if it's a wall there to where you don't really want to get to know more about the person because they're already not on a level of somebody that you really want to have a deeper friendship with. And so you really want to get to that level of acceptance because then you can move forward. And yeah, like, you can't, like, I think it's wrong to change people's opinions about things because, like, who am I to say that this is right or this is wrong? Like, but if you don't have the same views as somebody, not like the same exact views, but if you don't have like a basic view with the person, then the friendship's not gonna like grow and thrive and be all happy and jobs. So let's go to our next topic. Apparently it's snowing. Okay, so we live in Colorado, and you know that saying about Colorado, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It's kind of been true over this last week. It was like blizzard, rain, really hot, like short weather, and then it was windy, and then it was cloudy, then it was snowing, and then it was raining.
And now it looks like Christmas Eve.
Oh yeah, so like, sorry, somebody interrupted me. Anyway, so like, okay, so like I just opened the window before, and like it was like there was like a sheet of snow all over the window, because it really does heavily weather change here. Heavily weather change.
It really does.
We were actually gonna go hiking today, but it didn't turn out because somebody, Sarah. Okay, see, look, we go hiking every week, all right, and like it's kind of tedious, but it's really fun because it's an exercise activity. So we try to get at least one person new to go with us each week to at least change it up a little bit. But this week everybody like dipped out. We had one person. He's another RA. His name is Austin, and he was gonna go with us, but he didn't call us until like after it was already too late. Because like.
Kind of failed.
Yeah, it failed miserably and it hurt my feelings. But, you know, he sucks a little bit, but it's alright.
But it's okay. He's a good kid.
You can see that we have tea glasses here. We have a desk attendant, his name is Jeff, he makes tea. And I'm going to mention that just because if we tend to do this every Sunday, that means there's probably going to be tea here every Sunday. It's my cell phone. What else do we have on here? Oh yeah, Patrick has a new hairstyle.
I tried it today for the party we went to at lunch.
Probably on next week's episode, he's probably going to have his hair back to normal, and then we're going to do a poll online on our website and see which ones you guys like better.
So let's model it off now. So that's this week. Next week, well, you'll see my natural hairstyle, which is natural. It has nothing in it.
With different theme music. You're the one with crazy. You know, when we
Sidney
get
will
millions of
also
viewers,
have-
you will not, you'll be coming to this thing, you'll be all excited, like, oh my god, it's Sunday.
Sidney will have a new
Have one person
hairstyle
next
next
to
time too.
Your mom and your dad.
Your mom doesn't want to watch us on the camera?
Sure, I'll make her watch us. My mom. Be our first one, I'm sorry.
Group wave to our parents.
My parents are not going to watch this.
They'll watch it as long as we keep it PC.
Politically correct.
Twitter. I'm a PC.
Anywho.
Versus a
yeah.
Oh yeah, so I forgot to mention earlier, me, Sydney, and Sarah are resident assistants of Grand Mesa Hall, where we're actually hosting this at. Patrick is the conduct board chairperson. Some schools have conduct boards, other schools have judicial boards. Google it. It's just the best way to say it. And so Sydney she's doing a program with another RA in the building. His name is Harold. We're going to mention him a lot later. And she really wants to get out of here, so she put up her publicity. But we're keeping her here to do this web show.
Sydney, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, what's your program about?
It's for Opinion Palooza. We're designing the shirts tomorrow. Yeah. And the theme is going to be adrenaline. And we're going to have people, hopefully people come in and they're going to design the shirts this year. So that's tomorrow. And I need to get those posters up, so, you know, next topic.
Sydney speaks Flemish. Sarah speaks Spanish. Patrick speaks a little French and Japanese. I speak a little German and Japanese. And Sydney speaks like 5 other languages too. Maybe 3. She speaks a little French and German and Dutch. And Spanish, as you can say. Not yet, but it's getting there apparently. Let's all say our names in a language. I choose Japanese. And Sydney will start. Say, hi, my name is Sydney, in a language.
Hello, my name is Sidney.
Hola, mi nombre es Sara.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Patrick.
Konbanwa. Watashi no namae wa John desu. Hajimemashite. Japanese is fun. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's this show called Hana Yori Dango.
Oh
It means
my
boys
gosh.
over flowers. This is the greatest show on television. You know what I mean? Well, was on television. It's actually interesting. It's about this girl. Her name is Makino. Actually, Makino Skush.
Skushida.
Just Skush.
I thought it was Skushida.
Well, it's Skushy, but they don't really pronounce that I at the end, so it's like Makino Skush. Anyway, it's an amazing show. I think it started out as an anime first, because I read the anime for it. Or a manga. Probably a manga, then the anime, and then the live action.
That's
It is-
usually how like shows
Trust.
travel.
Sydney actually brought it, like when she came to this school as an RA, she actually brought it with her. It was the greatest show. She's like, I think you'll love it. You guys like Japanese. And like one day we're like, all right, let's give it a shot. She showed us like 2 episodes. I was hooked.
It's
I'm-
true.
We finished that sucker in like 2 weeks.
That's good.
It was so good. It was so good. Oh man, the show rocks.
We're gonna try to start a new show. It's called Last Friends. It looks kind of dark, a little dramatic, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it has music by Utada Hikuru. She's an amazing woman. She actually does the music for Kingdom Hearts. I think she's the one who sang one of the songs from there. Isn't it called like Simple and Clean?
Anyways,
It's a good show. I have to mention it. Just in case this actually does get pretty big on the internet, that is a fantastic show. And it actually has a good OVA. No, that's for animes. What's it called for live action movies? I think it's just called movie. It's really good. Oh yeah. So my iPod broke and I gave it to Best Buy. My iPod's name is Stacy and I'll refer to her as Stacy for the rest of these web shows. But she's gone right now. It makes me sad.
that is kind of sad. I'd be very sad if my MP3 player left.
Sydney, do you name any of your things? No.
I named my dog.
You don't name your technology?
You can name a car?
No, I don't have a car.
My car's name is Buzzbomb, or Buzzy, is what we call her. My dad actually named her because she shakes if you go faster than 75. Like, she feels like there's a little time bomb inside of her and she shakes.
Wait, is that the blue one?
Yeah, the little,
Oh.
the itty bitty
We
blue.
take that to the monument all the time.
Yeah, we don't go faster than 75 on the
I
monument.
don't like things that go buzz buzz. It's a
So why
filter
don't you call it the blender?
My dad named her, not me.
Why'd you call it the blender?
Because we don't blend things, she just shakes. If we were blending things in my car, that would mean like it would like shake so much that we all like fused together. It's just not okay.
So now we're going to talk about our first job experiences, because I think this would be interesting, because it's something I actually haven't asked any of these people about, and I want to know what their first jobs were and what it was like. So I think I'll start. My first job was when I was like 14, or I think it was 14 going on 15, and I was working at Burger King. That was like one of the most hellish experiences of my life. I swear. Oh, by the way, you think when you work at a restaurant, it makes you less susceptible to eat that food? No. It's 50% off. You're gonna eat that food. But I did get a little tired of soda, and so I went to raspberry sweetened iced tea. But like at my lunch, I think I ate onion rings almost like every day. I worked so much, and I got so big. Like my shirt didn't fit after a while. I had to go up to the adult size.
Oh no.
Oh, it was terrible. I think because when back in the day, we had yellow shirts for people who weren't 16 years of age or older yet. So I had a yellow one, but my yellow one got too tight, so I had to get a bigger size because I kept eating all the freaking Burger King. Their French fries are so good.
I do have good French fries.
So it's true, Burger King or fast food is bad.
Yes,
Well,
it does.
I don't think that's ever been in question.
It made me real big. Like, you really think when you work in a place, you don't want to eat that food. French fries never get like Stacy. My favorite food is French fries. Just throw that out there.
My first job was at Waterworld. I think it's America's like second biggest or whatever.
How old were you?
14. Yeah. And it's America's like biggest water park, theme park or whatever. And I started off as, a grounds person at 14 because that's basically like the only thing you can do at 14 legally.
Or cleaning up hair at a barber shop.
Yeah. And we only worked 4-hour shifts, so at half they split up the day between each of the groups. So you either work the morning half or you work the evening half. And it was pretty much the most boring thing ever. And our uniform was a t-shirt and bathing suit. Now, you only got to work in the water, and basically this is what you did in the water. You moved the tubes, like the giant tubes that the people would come riding down on that has 4 people in it. You'd move the tubes down the little splashdown area to the end, and then the person at the end had to flip them up and roll them over and put them onto another stack. Ugh, most awful thing ever. It was so boring. It was really boring. You would just figure out ways to not actually have to push them. You'd learn where the currents are, so that way you didn't actually have to push them and stuff like that. But
There's stuff on my finger.
The first job-like thing that I had was actually as a stable manager at the farm up the road. They only had 3 horses. But I got to groom them and muck out their stalls and feed them and stuff, and I got paid. And I did that from the time I was 10 to when I was 12. And I got to ride the horses for free if I wanted to, and it was fun. And bring my horse over to play with them if I wanted to, because they were friends. My horse had a crush on his female horse. It was fun. And then the first official job I got was as a lifeguard at the Palisade Pool when I was 14. The boss there was my swim coach, and she needed extra lifeguards, so she lied about my age on the form, saying I was 15. It was fun. So that was my first official job. It was really boring. Not much exciting stuff goes on. I didn't have any rescues, so that sucked. I just got really, really, really tan. Pretty much guaranteed to have skin cancer sometime in my life from this job.
Doesn't chlorine make your hair fall out eventually?
Yeah. Oh, and I turned blonde. See, this is my natural hair color. Really, really dark brown. I was bleach blonde from going in the sun. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It was pretty hideous, I think.
Idiots.
Right. My first job was in Brussels. And in Brussels, everybody speaks either French or, it's supposed to be bilingual, but everybody speaks French, which sucks because that's not my natural language. So when I was a salesperson, and so then when I did go, it was a lot of pressure for me to do as well as I could in French, and my boss was horrible. She was just Oh, this French lady. Oh my gosh. And she scared the crap out of me. She really did. She really, really did. And she put a lot of pressure on me.
What
She even
happened?
had this like walk. That was just witch-like. I mean, she like, what? There's a movie out there, and like where they're walking, but it looks like they're running, like they're coming at you like this. That's what she did. Oh my gosh, she was crazy.
And how
Her
old
name
were you?
was Dennis.
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 I was 16. Going on 17, so I was pretty old.
Wow, you didn't get a job till late.
Oh, we're not allowed to take jobs.
Wow. Here in America, they put us to work early. They're like,
Those child labor laws really just don't come into effect.
I can't think about this.
She's having like post-traumatic stress.
She's like,
It's such a rough speech. Everything I did was wrong.
and then she'd yell at me in French that I could barely understand.
She would. And she had like this mumble jumble language of like Flemish French. Oh, it was scary.
Flemish and French jumbled, like she'd throw in like a Flemish word when she didn't know the French word.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then like our job was to like fold clothes and make customers happy, right? Well, this was like in a really nice store, so we had the clothes folded with like paper in between, like the collars folded, and you're really not supposed to touch it. I mean, if you want to try on a shirt, they'll give you another one that you try on, and then you buy it like that, in a square.
Nice.
But then people want to see what that color looks like on it, which is pretty normal. She could not stand it when people open the shirt. And then she'd come to me and she goes,
With that walk.
She was scared. And that's exactly what she sounded like too. It was like this gurgling spit coming at me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll go fold it. Oh, it was horrible. Anyway.
Wow.
Let's never talk about this again.
You make French sound so hard to speak when you get yelled at.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should like cut it off because no one's gonna watch this till the end anyway.
Well, we have one more topic.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize to the viewers. If you've made it this long, we're gonna be claps. Okay, clap everybody. Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. But so the last thing we're gonna do is I just want to mention about the people that we'll probably be talking about in this show. Some of them will have like I'm gonna give fake names for most of them, and then they'll know who I'm talking about. But we have another RA in the building who has the same name as me. His name is John, and we're keeping his name the same. But the rest of the friends we're gonna talk about, we're gonna talk about them. We're gonna call Greg, Frank, Brittany, Aton. So that's for next week's episode, because I have lots of things I want to talk about with them. So this kind of wraps up our show for tonight. And so once again, I'm John.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Sarah.
And Sydney.
All right. We're gonna podcast. All right, remember go this way now.
I did it.
Yeah, you and I went
Yeah.
the old way.
No, I went the right way. Well, my hand was over
Okay,
here, so I was like.
I know, it was weird.
It should be in the bloopers.
Let's try again.
Okay.
So, for once again, I'm John.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Sarah.
And Sydney.
Have a pleasurable evening.
Enjoy your voice.
Good.
Night.
Good.
Hey guys, this is terrible.
It'll get
We
better.
cannot get it going. Everybody's gonna be like, they're gonna be like, oh man, what's this show to put you to sleep, dude? You don't need your whatever you take to go to sleep.
Now I think we started getting going, like,